I think there's so much power in being naive. It's like one of the greatest gifts is doing something for the first time. When I started working on it, I'd never seen it before. I'd only read it. We were unburdened by the legacy of it a little bit. So it was all just fabric that we could do what we wanted with. And we could really adapt it. And I thought that was so exciting. So I think that working from that space of feeling free and unburdened by it, just kind of trying to tell your truth every day, like bring yourself to it every day, and don't lie.
Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America. In this episode, the fate of a treasured object threatens to tear a family apart in director Malcolm Washington's drama, The Piano Lesson. Based on the acclaimed play by August Wilson, the film navigates the lives and legacies of the Charles family. In the aftermath of the Great Depression, a brewing battle lurks over what to do with the family heirloom, a piano documenting the family history with carvings made by an enslaved ancestor. The Piano Lesson is Washington's feature directorial debut. Following a screening of the film at the DGA Theater in Los Angeles, Washington spoke with director David E. Talbert about filming The Piano Lesson. Listen on for their spoiler-filled conversation.
Yeah, it's doing this thing, huh?
You camper, you don't even need the mic.
Man, come on. I'm from theater, man. This was the first Broadway play that I saw in 1991 in San Francisco.
Do you remember the cast?
I know Charles Dutton was.
Dutton, yeah.
And it was amazing, and it blew me away. So, I mean, when they asked me, brother, I couldn't wait to come here. And when I saw this, I mean, my God, there's so many things we're going to get into, but you got a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Thank you. I'm trying not to look at that stuff.
Look, my first 4 films combined didn't score 91. So I don't even know you and I hate you already. How does it make you feel, brother?
It's really surreal. It's very surreal. I went to AFI here in LA, American Film Institute. And I went to AFI to find the confidence to pursue this as a life journey. And I had a really pivotal moment at AFI where they select 3 films at the end of your tenure to represent the school. And they do this big screening. They make this whole big deal out of it. And my film got selected and I was like, whoa. And that film, the way where they played it was right here in this room. So coming back to this room now with the feature, and my memories here are so tied to that feeling of okay, I'm gonna pursue this. I'm gonna give my life to it and try to make it. Yeah. So now to come back with a movie that's
you didn't just pursue it, brother. You knocked it out the park.
Thank you.
So welcome back as a first time feature film director. Now, when you graduated from University of Penn, right? Yeah. Okay, so then you started PAing for Spike Lee.
No. So I graduated from Penn and I worked in camera department for a year here in LA. And then I went to AFI and then I started working for Spike.
Okay. So did you get Spike some coffee? And if you did, he didn't put no cream in it.
Yeah.
Because knowing Spike Lee, you can't he don't want no cream 100 miles away. Nothing to water down the blackness and boldness and aroma. How was that experience?
It was incredible because Spike. So you go to school, you study filmmaking, it's very theoretical, but directing is such an isolating job. Like you don't get to see how other people do it. You don't know what the rigor is. So getting to apprentice for him for so long, and he opened so many doors for me. And many others. He's a professor for real. Like there's a huge community of young filmmakers he's grooming where he lets us see the process. So working for Spike and seeing what it was like to be a working director, where 6 days a week he's up at 5 a.m. in his office writing or cutting or just working at the thing every day. It's not like glamorous, it's work, getting that kind of rigor and seeing what a working director's life is like really contextualize how my life would be.
In your director's statement, brother, you said that the process of adapting an American classic is a terrifying and sacred undertaking. Now, what was the scariest thing about this?
As you said when you sat down, that this material. There's so many people that are so connected to this play, to Piano Lesson, that play, and I'm coming in as a new voice with a new vision for it and a kind of fearlessness in how I wanted to go about it. So to get to that fearlessness first was a wall of fear of like, wait, okay, can you really break this thing? Can you get inside of this thing and change it in the way that you see fit? Because I have to go to sleep at night feeling like I did my best and put myself out there, while also trying to keep the spirit and significance of the thing to make the people who know this work proud of it.
Mm-hmm. And did you say when you come on the set, did you close your eyes and say King Kong ain't got nothing on me? I mean, did that help you?
Well, we had Sam Jackson there, so there was a lot of Sam Jackson.
I'm sure. August Wilson's project surrounds legacy. Your movie ended with For Mama. And we know about August Wilson's relationship, wonderful relationship with his mother. And it was there to celebrate and honor her. Was it there to celebrate and honor the relationship with your mother?
Yeah. So it was for all of it. I mean, I think that the role of Black mother is so important in our culture. It's like the thing that holds everything else together. And August, like as you say, speaks about this, and I wanted to honor that relationship. And my mom was so pivotal to my understanding of this text, my understanding of myself, my pursuit to be a filmmaker and live an artist life. Like she fertilized that soil for me to grow from. And I wanted to not only honor her, but honor that relationship for all of our moms. Like I didn't put her name, I put the relationship. I said for mama. And that's something that I hope that everybody can connect to, that when the film ends and that card comes up, you think about your mom and her mom and her mom and all the sacrifice and actions that they took. Not just sacrifice sometimes too, what they did to make your life possible. It's an impossible series of events that made you. And I wanted to honor that and respect it.
Well, you did well, brother. You did really well. So the play is a sibling, which of course your adaptation is a sibling power struggle that takes on titanic force. It asks the characters, and by extension, an entire people, that they owe the past. Excuse me, let me ask that again. The play is a sibling power struggle that takes on titanic force, asking what these characters, and by extension, an entire people, owe the past, and what do the past owe them. Malcolm, what do you owe the past?
Wow, that's such a beautiful way to put that, where there's a necessary debt there, right? That there's like an idea that you have to pay that back, that you have to acknowledge, confront, and put your skin in the game there to honor what they've done. And I think that I've been thinking about that a lot in the process of making this movie, obviously in the process of speaking about it now, because, when you're directing something, you have a lot of ideas that you've considered and you've gotten them down, but there's other stuff, there's intuitive parts of yourself that come through the work. And now that it's finished and you're talking about it, you kind of reconcile these two things, the considered and the unknown, and make sense of it. So I think for me, what I owe the past is obviously everything. Who I am is so influenced by it, and also a kind of freedom to break from that too, and an importance to confront and acknowledge those things so that you can make your own decision and live with the consequences, and understand that your actions are going to reverberate through history in the future. So I think that I owe just that understand. I owe really the idea of engaging in it, the accepting the challenge of wrestling with it.
Well, it was a hell of a piece to wrestle with. And you, Sam Jackson, as the role of Doker. Now, he originated the role of Boy Willie at Yale. And I don't know if you all know this, but they're all family friends. You all call him Unc, right?
It's true.
Okay. Now, how was it directing your uncle? And did you catch him saying the lines of Boy Willie off screen instead of his own?
You know what? A wonderful thing in our culture is this idea of you have so many uncles that aren't your dad's brother, that aren't your mom's brother. It's a cultural connection. Right. And working in the legacy of August Wilson, you're connected to so many great artists. Like if I met, if I got to see, James Earl Jones, like he would feel like, rest in peace, he would feel like an uncle to me because I'm in his shadow, like I'm working in his lineage. We're connected in that way. So working with Samuel L. Jackson, obviously I've known him a long time. Mr. Potts, I haven't known a long time, but he's an uncle to me. I call him Unc, and that dynamic was on set and so beautiful because they brought in so much of that direct tie to that legacy, the importance and significance of the framework on which we're working, which is August Wilson, and they empowered us to change it. They empowered us to put our stamp on it and make something that could communicate to audiences today, to make a movie, not a filmed play, make something that was cinematic in scope and an exciting experience to watch, to filter it through the prism of ourselves and our influences and our worldview, and then to spit that out. And that in doing that would actually honor August Wilson the most, is that me, a young Black man from a different era, different part of the world, could interpret his work and bring it back to audiences. And that would be true also.
Well, you kind of hit on the question I was going to ask you, because now I want to get into the film. Now, when you talk about an adaptation of a play to film, you're always like, oh, Lord, somebody get me some coffee because I'm going to take me a nap because people are just sitting there talking and talking and talking. That's what a play is.
Absolutely.
It's motion words.
Yeah.
But when you talk about now, so I'm watching the film, I'm like, okay, piano lessons. Okay, I know these monologues, I know these characters. But now you opened it, you popped your cinematic collar right out the gate. You let folks know, put down your phone, get off Instagram. I mean, I was like, okay, fireworks, okay, horses and scope out the beginning. Was that your intention, to put your stamp, to say, this isn't your grandfather's a stage play to film? This ain't even my father's stage play to film.
Yeah, it was a couple of things. You want to establish a tone right away. It's like the kids have this one now, and we're working in a visual medium, and that's what we're doing. So you want to let the audience know, hey, this is a movie. This is a movie. Buckle up. But also conceptually, in adapting a play, there's a necessary kind of framing process, right? You're reframing the story that you're trying to tell. And the story that I was trying to tell and where I was in my life, it was a story obviously about ancestry and legacy and lineage, but it was an American story. We're telling the story of a place. We're setting up the concept of Black American reclamation, about a reclaiming of identity, a retelling a story. So starting the film, 4th of July, washes swaths of red, white, and blue at a theft. It was like, this is the most American. This is the way to establish the most American theme of all, and so starting the film like that felt like the reframing of our stories. This is the underpinning of our society, of this family, of the world in which we're inhabiting. So I wanted audiences to get that immediately.
Well, we got it out the gate because I didn't need the coffee at all, and what you did was I talked to Kenny Leon. That's like my big brother. You all know who Kenny Leon is.
Kenny Leon is like one of the most prolific August Wilson directors.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with August directly on August's last like 4 plays.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny was like his guy.
He wanted me to tell you that the ancestors are proud of you, and that August's work is in good hands.
That's insane. I'm honored. Thank you.
It's refreshing to see how this story comes through your prism. people that were born, and August Wilson, of course, one of the great playwrights of all time. And we would esteem them. We go to this theater with an ascot on and a smoking jacket, and we're like, yes, it's August Wilson. Yes. Who are you? How dare you? But now you took on the writing of this as well. And you met Virgil, who did Mudbound,
yep.
Right? And I could not tell. I was going to sit the play right here and then watch the movie. I'm like, oh, he fucked this up, man. He was supposed to have this thing there. But you could not tell. See, it was so freaking seamless. How did you do that? And what gave you the balls to think that you could pull this shit off that you did?
That's so funny, because if you look under the hood, it's like it's spaghetti in there. I think there's so much power in being naive. It's like one of the greatest gifts is doing something for the first time, going in thinking that it's going to be easy, and that everybody else just like couldn't figure it out, So I think that was like where the courage came from, because it was, in my mind, it was so simple. It's like, we can make a ghost story. Like, this is like,
it felt like that.
You can make
felt
that.
Like you were leaning in and watching a thriller.
Leaning into all that stuff. Yeah. And then how do you do it? Well, you can, I think because Virgil and I both come from filmmaking, we were unburdened by the legacy of it a little bit. I hadn't seen it a million times. Like when I started working on it, I'd never seen it before. I'd only read it. So it was all just fabric that we could do what we wanted with. And we could really adapt it. And I thought that was so exciting, like interpreting a work deeply, actually adapting it, like putting it in a context of a thing that you're trying to do, and not just transcribing it. Like we weren't interested in that. So I think that working from that space of feeling free and unburdened by it helped. And then just kind of trying to tell your truth every day, like bring yourself to it every day, and don't lie. And I think that's kind of where it got us.
Well, you introduced a whole new way of approaching plays, and there was silence. There was a lot of stillness in this film.
Yes.
Now you're 33, right?
Yes.
Your generation can't handle y'all can't handle 2 seconds of not being Texan. How did you access, and how were you comfortable? Miles Davis, when he did Kind of Blue, he was bebop. He said, before I did Kind of Blue, I was interested in the notes that I was playing. I was busy. I was all over everything. He said in Kind of Blue, he discovered that what was most powerful were the notes that he wasn't playing. He discovered something he called negative space. How did you discover that in the film, and how did you get so comfortable with that space?
There's such a musicality to August Wilson's dialogue. But I think something happens sometimes. Again, it's like just being naive, just feeling like the excitement of doing something you think for the first time. Where I think sometimes people take August Wilson's dialogue and they just do a staccato, like no breaks. And you see it on stage, and because there's so much and because it's so rich, it's like just spit it out as fast as you can, and then it'll carry you, And in a film, you want punchlines. It's like a good joke or something. You want a punchline. And to get to the punchline, you have to play with timing, play with pacing, like basketball or sport. Like you see certain athletes that work at their own pace. And
I think of punchline, the funniest in the film is when Lyman, your man Corey is with Bernice, right? And Lyman walks in and like, "Hey, Bernice," and then you cut to that's the funniest ever. I kept rewinding that. I mean, and you wouldn't think to have that kind of freedom with it, but I love that.
But I think that's what was so great about working with this group of actors too, is everybody. We got to shoot the movie in a way that's really rare now, which is in sequence. So it became camp. We start on page 1 and we kind of shoot in order, and wherever we got to at the end of today, we start from tomorrow. But what that did was it made everybody so open. So if we took the story today, we go over, now we're going left, we're supposed to go right. We can pick up from that place. It was so open, and everybody just was present and not glued to, not tied to their idea of what it was before they got in the room or what they might have done on stage with it before. It was an excitement about finding the thing every day. And these little moments come up. and you just chase them.
It seemed like that's what you did. Like, it's easy to go into work like this and have so much reverence where you choke out the life of what it wants to be in this medium. And that's not what you did, bro.
Yeah. And that, I think that's also what's so great about films lately. Like the era of film that I started watching movies in the 90s. Obviously, I'm from the 90s, but in the last 15, 20 years, independent cinema is so rooted in naturalism and realness and a groundedness. And I love that style of filmmaking and style of acting. And the movies that I also love is like 70s big performances out of the theater, like these out of these gigantic actors, playing around and being playful. And it was trying to find the balance between those two appetites, throughout the film. Is like, there's moments of trying to ground all this dialogue in something, trying to root all the feeling and emotionality and put it on the ground, but then being playful too, and letting Sam be Sam and letting all these actors just dance with the thing, because it's so fun sometimes too.
It was refreshing to know the source material and feel like I'm being introduced to a whole new a meal that you put in, your seasons, your spices,
and like with the music and stuff like that, where it's like,
I love that.
Let's break the period. Let's connect the diaspora in the selections. Let's have stuff from West Africa, stuff from the islands, stuff from the UK, stuff from contemporary Black America, and connect this experience that is the Black American experience that August is concerned with. He's concerned with portraying the everyday lives of Black people across space and time. Let's have musings on spiritual practice, on West African spiritual practice, on the Black Southern Christian tradition, how as a culture we reconcile these contradictions of our faith. And then
that preacher wanted no parts of Cass. I don't. That was a funny look. I don't know about these devils. That's what I do. That's funny.
Yeah, but it's true. Like our stories, our ancestors reconcile both of these things, and they live inside, that contradiction lives inside us, and we're meant to make sense of it. And ultimately, it's the combination of the two spiritual practices in communion together that exorcise the demon and bring the families back together. But there's just all these different elements of our culture sprinkled throughout the whole thing. So getting to play in that and think these ideas through for yourself was really rewarding.
Well, it was a beautiful work of art. And the lighting, I want to talk to me about the DP and the lighting, because it was beautiful, and not only interiors, of things not looking, it never looked like a play. The way you shot, voyeuristic photography through things in the lighting. The Black people no one was ashy or greasy or dull. And when you now see, it's a lot of white people. There ain't Black people in here. Y'all don't have to worry about that, because light from a DP to white people, it's different. Yeah, it's different. To Black people, we soak it up and eat it up, and Black people look either ashy or greasy or dull,
like gray.
Absolutely. So how were you able to do? They look beautiful, brother.
Thank you, Mike G is great, man. Well, we talked a lot about it, and there's, as time has moved on, and there's been more Black films and Black photography on higher budget levels too, you see these things taking shape, and there's like a movement of things happening, with the way, Barry Jenkins is, how he lights Black skin. And so all these examples exist before us. And so we tested a lot. We did a lot of testing. We auditioned so many different lenses and things like that. And I have a keen interest in the visual language of the thing. And like me and Mike were really together on that and how we were going to build this out, both to make it look beautiful but not like, it's not, I my mom has this thing, sometimes I'll see a movie with her, I'm like, oh, what'd you think? She goes, oh, it was shot really pretty. I'm like, okay, but did it tell the story? Like, what,
we just want to see ourselves not be ashy.
Yeah.
If the film happens to be good, so be it. So we want to be able to say, yeah, we look good.
Exactly. But we wanted to do that, and it's like let's tell this story visually in our motifs of lightness and darkness, of shadow and light, in color, and all of these things. Like, let's use these tools and tell this story with the camera, with the lighting, with placement and movement, with just all the tools.
Well, okay, you all, the Washingtons, are like the first family of dramatic filmmaking now. I mean, now, so this film, you're the director, okay? Your brother is a star. Your sister's in the movie, and she's an EP.
No, different sisters. I have a sister that's in the movie.
In the movie.
And then my other sister produced.
So which one was in the movie?
My twin sister.
And what'd she play?
She plays, there's a sequence where Bernice's character is telling Corey why she won't play the piano. She's like, oh, my mom used to polish it, and when she would play on it, she would wake these spirits up, and I don't want to do that. And we cut to a shot of her mom looking at her, a young version of her mom. That's played by my sister. And then later, at the end of the film, she's laying, after she's exorcised the demons, the family comes together. She's thanking all the ancestors. And she's laying in her mother's lap, the older version of her mom. That's my mother in that shot. So I connected them with the same character across time.
So how do you reconcile with the anxiety and pressure of showing this film to your father and seeing the first cut? I mean, my son's 11 years old. I can't imagine if he wrote a script and said, what do you think? He asked me sometimes about his hairstyle, and I said, it's cool. He says, you don't like it, do you? I said, no, it's cool. I like it. He said, you hate it, don't you, Dad? I said, no. So how does that go down?
You know, we're in search of something so much bigger than our own family that it wasn't even like that in that way. Like what we were after was all of us, like the entire cast and crew, we were in service of like a really big idea that everybody had to commit themselves to. A film like this gets made, not, you know, we were blessed to have the resources that Netflix allocated for us and the support of them, but it's so much more than what we got. You know, like everybody put so much more than what they were paid to put into it. And so many people put so much of themselves in it, and the stories of their ancestors and the story of their families. Like the film is y'all won't know this because you don't know these people, but the images in every part of the film is adorned, like all the portraits, all the carvings, they're cast and crew members' family that's in the space. So the space is an altar to them, you know? So it became so much bigger than my family that the pressure was on making all of them proud of the work that we did.
Yes, but as Denzel's son, I hear all that. Were you sweating? What kind of deodorant did you have to use? Because still, you're talking about one of the greatest actors ever to do it and director. And here you are, your directorial debut. And he's already directed the first from the catalog that he's launching. How was that feeling? What was that like before you had to show it to him?
It was special because it's like, can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine that? You know, in his point of view for both of my parents, like, can you imagine what my mom was born into the segregated South. She went to a segregated high school. She grew up in North Carolina, a small town. My dad was born in Harlem, so far from Hollywood, so far. And now your family has come together to make a film that honors you and your ancestors, everybody else that they don't even know, people that they you know, that sacrificed for them. So it was really just like a really beautiful moment of synergy across generations. You know, like it was for my, you know, I dedicate the movie to my mom. You know, it was for, you know, my dad was there, my mom was there, but it was like the spirits of all of our ancestors were in the room that time, in that moment. And we're all connected in that way. So yeah, you know, to you, he's the most interesting person, a part of this film. To us, it's my grandfather that my great-grandparents born into slavery that fought their way out and made my mom's life possible. And that to honor them in this moment, it was like, that's what it was about for us, you know?
Well, let me tell you, as a father, I'm going to tell you what it's like for your father. As a father, I'm sure there was a river of tears because you couldn't have made him more proud than you made him to put this work out the way you did, and to have the intention and to draw not only on the ancestors that you know and the ones that you don't know. Your mother and your father are crying a river of tears.
It's a beautiful moment, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we're very, very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's surreal.
Dude, whew, I got to get ready for this, whatever my son's going to do. I couldn't handle it. Let's talk about some of the actors in the film.
Yes.
Okay, now, that's your big brother.
Yes.
Okay, so did he mess with you when y'all were growing up, and did you throw some extra hurdles in there just to get him back?
He messed with me, yeah. He messed with me. And I don't think I threw back, but there was a day we were doing a bunch of wire work, and he kept complaining to me about it. I'm like, dog, you work with Chris Nolan. Like, you can't give me a couple extra takes. I'm your own brother. Mm-hmm. He thought I was overdoing it. I thought it was worth it.
Well, it has to be, he, of course, is brilliant. And he did his thing. Bernice.
Yeah, Danielle is special.
Talk about that.
She's so special. It's so exciting to get to work with somebody that's like, we just linked up at the right moment. Like, I feel like she's about to explode, and I had so much confidence in her from the beginning. Once we first spoke, we were so connected. How we saw the character, she's brilliant. She's a really, really brilliant person outside of acting and a multidisciplinary artist outside of filmmaking. So she just had such a great perspective on the character and on the process, and completely committed to me and to the film.
You couldn't take your eyes off her.
Yeah.
In that film.
She's amazing.
I mean, that scene with her and Lyman.
Yeah.
When he gave
the
set, I was like,
they find that moment in the mirror. I think it's so wonderful.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now, what, because the camera movement, man, like when she came down the stairs the first time and that wonder that went around there. Yeah. So you just wanted to pop your collar cinematically.
I wanted to honor the medium. I had a professor in film school who he had this thing, and it just always stuck with me, and it turned into like my philosophy on filmmaking. I can't claim it. When I was on set, I was saying that like I invented it, but I took it from my professor. Where he was like, the camera should shoot the subtext. The camera's here to shoot the subtext. So dig beyond the text. What's the layer? Identify that, then photograph that. And that was like our mantra throughout the whole film, is like, let's get into the subtext. Let's tell the story visually and use subjectivity, use point of view, tools that aren't available to you in theater. So in that sequence, like that was us embodying the mental state of her. She's seen this thing. Nobody believes her. She's being gaslit by her whole family. And she's the only woman in the room, standing in the middle of the room, holding the space. It's like this dizzying kind of camera movement. And let's get into that. And when you have actors like I was blessed to work with, and Danielle delivering an incredible performance, my brother's performance I'm so proud of, Sam Jackson, it makes it so much easier for you to find these things because you're just watching them and what they're exuding, and then you meet them on that level.
You're very kind and honorable. Clearly you were raised right. On the sets of my film, every day I would be with my AD and DP, and I said we have to have one shot of the day. We do our coverage and we do all that stuff. But one shot of the day has to be like, let me show you something. Absolutely. So you had those throughout?
It would always...
Because there was a lot of them.
Thank you.
And they worked. And and they weren't trying to scream, look at me, I went to film school. Yeah. But they were very organic.
Yeah, good. And that was... I think so much of that came from changing how I was working. I think before I used to try to plan everything. And now with this one, I try to be present in the moment and show up that day. We had a shot list and we did a lot of planning, but try to see what is like the cinema of the day, like the cinema of the moment. What's happening right here, right now that you couldn't have thought of before that's just present. Like, where do we put what do we do today, right now? And so many moments that I'm proud of came out of that, that moment that you were talking about, that totally we just made up on the spot and actually boxed me into it was like, that was a day I was like, I became a filmmaker this day.
Oh man,
I went home, I like sat on the bed, I was like, oh my God.
I got this. You said
No, it was the opposite. I was like, oh man, like this was hard.
Dude, but it landed strong. And you settled on that stair after it was over. Then when your coverage, I said, oh my goodness.
Good.
Well, of course, we could sit here like this is our living room.
Yeah, it feels like it.
All
it's a beautiful living room.
At the at the climax scene of the film, Bernice is seated at the piano, one that she hadn't played in a while. And when she's sitting there at the piano, she's playing a melody. She's surrounded by the ancestors. They show up because this melody pleases her. I want you to know, brother, with your first film, you've played a melody that pleases us. And as a result, you're surrounded by the ancestors.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was beautiful.
Malcolm Washington. Yes, the piano lessons.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. The Director's Cut is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And please share, subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow film buffs find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America